Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to a News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. Parliament confirms the official resignation of Jack Warner. Town and Country Planning Division promised to speed up applications. And the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman earns a more prominent role in the country's financial architecture. In our top story, there is word today that Parliament has confirmed that it has received the official resignation letter from the Chaguanas West Member of Parliament, Jack Warner. In a press release today, the Parliament outlines how the lower house intends to treat with the matter according to the guidelines stipulated in the Constitution.
House Speaker Wade Mark has officially confirmed receiving a letter from the former Member of Parliament for Chaguanas West, Mr. Jack Warner, conveying his formal resignation as a Member of Parliament effective midnight Friday, April 26, 2013. A release issued from the Parliament stated that according to Section 69(3) of the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, which states when a vacancy occurs in the House of Representatives within the first 4 years of the life of the Parliament, a by-election shall be held to fill such a vacancy not later than 90 days from the date of the announcement by the Speaker of the vacancy. It also underscored that as a result of the announcement, a vacancy has occurred will be made known in the lower house during the next sitting when the Speaker of the House raises the item as part of the items transacted in the House of Representatives under the agenda item announcements by the Speaker. The Honourable Speaker of the House has instructed the Clerk of the House, Jackie Sampson, to obtain from the Leader of the House, Dr. Rudal Munilal, confirmation of the date for an early sitting of the House of Representatives. However, the next sitting is yet to be decided, as Dr. Munilal has indicated that this will be determined when the House meets at its parliamentary caucus this week. Mr. Warner was first elected to the House of Representatives in November 2007, representing the newly created Chaguanas West constituency. He was re-elected on May 24, 2010 and was appointed Minister of Works and Transport shortly after. Upon the change of portfolio, his ministry was changed into the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure in June 2011, where he served until June last year. He was subsequently appointed to the National Security Ministry. Mr. Warner resigned as Minister of National Security on April 21, 2013, and was replaced by Emmanuel George. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Planning and Sustainable Development Minister Dr. Bahindradat Tiwari says the processing of certain various applications in the Town and Country Planning Division will be done significantly faster than before. He was speaking at a news conference where he revealed that several new policies would now be implemented.
Much needed change is coming to the Town and Country Planning Division very soon. This from the Planning Minister, who says the backlog for 2012 will also be cleared out.
The Town and Country Planning has been able, by and large, to take care of the backlog of applications in Trinidad and Tobago and to clear out the decks for 2012. I want to acknowledge that and I want to applaud you for that.
Dr. Tiwari says a new system is being put in place to expedite the processing of certain various applications. Simple application processing, he says, will take no more than 60 days.
A new system is coming into place right now, not when the bill is passed or anything, right now, in which the most that it is going to take to deal with an application is 2 months, which is the statutory requirements under the Act. Secondly, that for single family applications, we are now going to do it in 30 days. And that for the subdivision of land for 11 lots or more, it will take 2 months, which is a statutory period. But for 10 lots and less, a commitment has been made by Town and Country Planning to do this in 20 days.
The minister is announcing a revised residential density policy which he says would now promote environmental sustainability. He explained the benefits.
We are going to change the policy to allow citizens to do more with less land. It represents a land use planning incentive required to immediately stimulate both construction, housing, and related sectors, so that if you get the opportunity to utilize your land either for personal use or to monetize the opportunity of land space, it will stimulate the construction sector. It involves the intensification, consolidation, and optimization of existing urban areas which are supported by relevant facilities and services.
Verna Barath, News 4.
After a decade of service to the local banking and insurance sectors with limited powers, the Office of the Financial Services Ombudsman, OFSO, has earned the right to independence and a more prominent role in the country's financial architecture. To this end, Central Bank Governor Jwala Rambaran told invitees at the OFSO 10th Anniversary Breakfast meeting that the central bank has commissioned a study to upgrade the OFSO's existing regime of financial consumer protection and to bring it in line with international best practice.
Worldwide, some 150 million new consumers join the financial market each year. Yet, ironically, the consumer's voice is often the weakest and very often is not heard. For this reason, the international community has increased its focus on how to better protect financial consumers.
He says our own recent financial turmoil arising from the failure of Clio Investment Bank and the Hindu Credit Union suggests that financial consumer protection, financial literacy and financial education are key priorities for regulators.
The G20 has adopted 9 high-level principles for financial consumer protection. Of immediate relevance to the Ombudsman's office is Principle 9, which speaks to consumers having access to adequate complaints handling and redress mechanisms that are accessible, affordable, independent, fair, accountable, timely, and efficient.
Meanwhile, the study being undertaken by David Thomas, a former chairman of the International Network of Financial Services Ombudsman Schemes and former chief ombudsman of the Financial Ombudsman Service in the United Kingdom, has already submitted a draft report which recommends changing the voluntary nature of the OFSO regime to one underpinned by legislative authority. The voluntary nature of the OFSO regime, Rambaran noted, has restricted complaints to a narrow list which banks and insurance companies have agreed to.
Of the 230 banking complaints which qualified for review under its terms of reference, the OFSO resolved an impressive 98% over the period 2003 to 2012. More than 45% of these complaints, which were directed towards issues related to accounts transactions, card services, and loans and credit, was settled within 90 days.
The draft report recommended that the OFSO should be independent of consumers, the financial industry, and the central bank, as it acts as an alternative to the courts and should be run by the independent board of persons who understand regulations, the financial industry, and consumer protection. The report also recommended that the scope of complaints be widened. In 2011 to 2012, he said, the office received 1,173 inquiries regarding financial complaints outside of the banking and insurance sectors. Many of those complaints that fall outside the OFSO's terms of reference, he said, include bank fees, pricing of bank products and services, lapsed insurance policies, insurance premium charged, personal injury for motor vehicle accidents, and credit union shares and loans. After the break, we tell you why over 10,000 patrons attended the Going Green Expo. Stay with us. Welcome back. Going Green Expo in its second year running saw over 10,000 patrons visit the numerous booths with displays highlighting the need for preservation of the environment. Patrons were asked to donate a tin of food as its entrance fee to support shelters for the homeless in and around the city. But at the core of the event was the Drive Home message to citizens, saving planet Earth through eco-friendly solutions and practices.
With the global push towards a more eco-friendly, civic-minded population, the city of San Fernando hosted second Going Green Expo. And spearheading this is City Mayor, His Worship the Mayor Councillor Dr. Navi Muradali, whose main aim is to see the city transform into an eco-conscious one.
Many people may not understand the term. They may not even understand when we say we are going green. But at the end of the day, we want to show them the things that they can do and the things that they can certainly do at their homes, their workplace, the schools, to ensure that they have a better environment.
From solar panels to power-saving bulbs to preserving ecosystems through man-made industrial processes, patrons attending the weekend's event got a chance to learn about the many ways we could protect the environment.
We are Solaris Energy. We are happy to be part of the Going Green Expo here in Trinidad. We try to do as much as we can in the Going Green revolution throughout the Caribbean.
We would like people to know we have other services. We have the marine unit who goes into our wetlands and they clean out our swamps. We clean out our mangrove areas because people, they don't realize when they litter and they throw one bottle, it goes down into the mangrove and it damages the wildlife. So we are cleaning that. We have collected 75,000 bags of garbage since 2012, and the most type of waste you would find, the main type of waste would be the plastics, like the plastic bottles.
So here we are showing the pumping jack, which takes the oil out of the ground, and the pipelines going into the tanks. So the oil is collected in tanks, and then the tanks, of course, after that, the oil is pumped to Pointe-à-Pitre to the refinery. But this in general is showing that Petrotrin can operate in harmony with the environment.
The Environment Commission was also on hand at the fair and explained to patrons their position as the court assigned with the responsibility for resolving environment disputes, which works hand in hand with the Environment Management Authority.
If for some reason failure to comply with the instructions of the EMA, the EMA now needs to come to the Environmental Commission for enforcement. And that's not all he does. Even the aggrieved party who is being in breach, if he or she feels that he has been treated unjustly, he has the right to come to the Commission to appeal the decision of the EMA.
Students visiting got a chance to see the many ways they could make a difference in keeping their surroundings and valuing plant and animal life. These little ones visiting the display gave their big thoughts on preserving the planet.
To me, it means changing the whole way that we use things during nature, like through electricity, like through waste, like plastic bottles, paper, etc. Just changing everything to fit nature.
How do you preserve the environment?
You're supposed to keep it clean and keep it very tidy. And you should always recycle.
I would separate the glass from the plastics when I'm home, when I drink different beverages, and I would recycle them by carrying them to the bins at my school. And I would try my best not to litter because I know it's bad for the ecosystem.
You recycle by you put bottles in a bin named recycling bin, and you put them and they crush it to make other stuff.
Adults also visiting the fair had their thoughts on what Going Green meant to their day-to-day practices and the steps they took to make their positive impact on the environment.
I'm what I call a green guy at home. I do everything on the internet. All the things that I do, my research documents, everything is basically stored in a data form. So I don't need to really use much paper. One thing I've done too is to install one flush toilet system at home. So it does use up a lot of water from the water supply. Use less water, of course. Turn off, lights when they're not in use and that sort of thing.
Right now, we're doing a process of collecting plastic bottles at schools. We do a database of how many bottles, different types, different whatnots, and recycle them back. That is what we do.
Because of global warming, we have to, in order to save the planet Earth, we have to go green.
Mayor Muradali says it's this type of change he wishes to see take place in the city by 2015.
And I think we are on our way. We want to ensure that we use off-the-grid technology so that we can have wind solar hybrid energy on the waterfront. So all of these initiatives are part of our thrust.
For many, going green is a collective change in mindset that, if taken in small steps together, can make a difference in the world tomorrow. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Statistics indicate that Trinidad and Tobago reflects the international trend of female underrepresentation in the ICT field, despite high levels of educational achievement. And looking to change this as the sector continues to expand here at home is the Ministry of Science and Technology. In an effort to do this, the ministry celebrated International Girls in ICT Day this year and invited female students from across the nation for a workshop on creating awareness of the many careers in the field.
Global statistics show there is a shortfall in ICT professionals in the world. Apart from that, the field rarely attracts women and girls to the sector. Attempts to change this started in 2010 when members of the International Telecommunications Union saw the need to create an environment that encourages young girls and women to consider a career in the information and communication technology ICT sector. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, the Ministry of Science and Technology identifies with this as it is part of its core strategic pillars towards sustainable growth and development. Women and girls from across the country gathered to recognize this year's theme, Expand Horizons, Change Attitudes. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Joy Crease, says this change of perception of the field was needed here at home.
And we in the Ministry of Science and Technology wish to facilitate a reversal of this trend because we know unequivocally, and as our esteemed panelists will prove in just a short while from now, girls get ITC and girls can do ICT. The injection of a uniquely female perspective into what is still largely considered to be a male-dominated arena cannot help but contribute to greater relevance and a sense of balance for decision-making and policy formulation. Excuse me. Moreover, in the pursuit of sustainable development and innovation, Trinidad and Tobago cannot afford to overlook or exclude any viable human capital. In other words, ladies, our country needs you.
The growth of this industry is one definitely expanding in Trinidad and Tobago, as government has already put in place several systems that require the use and support of the ICT sector. Minister of Science and Tertiary Education, Dr. Rupert Griffith, says his administration sees this as vital to the nation's development and has already begun to put in place the relevant infrastructure needed for the information technology field.
Would you not wish to be a part of something that can touch and even change the lives of people everywhere? My ministry is beginning to put in place accessibility within the next 18 months to 98% of the population. That means 98 out of every 100 person will be able to access telephone and access ICT services through government portals and through government TT Connect and TT BizLink and a whole host of applications we'll be putting in place.
He added that the perception of those in the sector were nerds was a misconceived notion.
You will see that they represent a vast array of interest and expertise, and they are certainly not geeks. You all know what a geek is, right? Anybody? Everybody knows what a geek is. Or uninteresting. They are very interesting, trust me. Not all the stereotypes that are often portrayed on television. These are respected leaders in their field of endeavor. I therefore urge you to ask questions, get insights into the path they took that have brought them to where they are today and the challenges they have overcome to do so.
From research analytics to music and art, the application of ICT vary from every sector. Trailblazers in the field explain to the gathered students the many careers in the field as more than just fixing computers and understanding how they work.
What would you do as a student of ICTs for social change, what would you do as a career in ICTs for social change? So the rest of my presentation, which is only a few minutes, is exactly this. I'm going to walk through about 8 or 9 different areas that you can carve out for yourself.
I am a sort of a blend of art and technology, which is really strange, right? But only recently it's been actually, that merge is actually coming to light, that creativity and technology goes hand in hand.
Loving what you do and being true to yourself, because it's only in that understanding you will get into a career that you really love.
Kimberly Ram-Calawan, News 4.
Up next, the very latest in sports. Stay with us. Welcome back. Despite being beaten within 3 days when they faced Jamaica in the preliminary round of the Regional 40 tournament, the Trinidad and Tobago senior national cricketers are ready for a rematch. TNT will face the defending champions in the semi-finals of the tournament starting in Jamaica on Thursday, hoping to reverse that crushing defeat. They will have time to achieve that feat without some key players who are on duty in the Indian Premier League or injured. The team hoping to cause an upset in Kingston and advance to the final will be led by the experienced Danish Ramden and include debutants Jeremy Solozano and Akil Hossain, as well as Lendell Simmons, Jason Mohammed, Keon Otley, Stephen Katwaro, Imran Khan, Riyad Emrit, Amit Jagannath, Yannick Karaya, Shannon Gabriel and Marlon Richards. Trinidad and Tobago last year won the 4-day title in 2006, while the Jamaicans have dominated in recent years. When we return, we focus on the Boca Slitfest. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The NGC Boca Slitfest has helped to launch the careers of many writers who achieved international fame. Trinidadian Sam Selvon and Nobel laureate V.S. Naipaul, to just to name a few. The third annual NGC Boca Slitfest was held at the National Library this past week, where local politicians read excerpts from classical and contemporary Caribbean fiction.
The 2013 NGC Boca Slitfest opened at the Old Fire Station, Abercrombie Street, Port of Spain, with a special event. Local politicians read selections from both classic and contemporary Caribbean fiction, offering portraits of politicians over the decades. MP Paula Gopi Schoon read from Monique Rofi's novel The White Woman on the Green Bicycle, and prominent attorney and newspaper columnist Martin Daly, SC, read from The Prime Minister by Barbadian Austin Clarke.
Why afraid him so? He a good man. I'm not afraid of him. I agree with him. He'll make a big difference. Of course, Granny love him. Will he give Granny what she's been waiting for? Running water, electricity? Yes, madam. Everything go change. I will have bath and light bulb and we go buy a stove. Granny Serafina been saving for it all now. She keep her money safe under she mattress.
The host was at the far end of the veranda of the beach house where the meeting was being held, talking excitedly to the minister. "Sit down, gentlemen," he said. John Moore had never met this man before, but he knew from the newspapers that he too was a cabinet minister. He was a silent man, and if his silence was not a cover for his dumbwittedness, he nevertheless had a reputation in the country for being silent, snobbish, and dumbwitted. But he had degrees from 2 universities.
The NGC Boca Slitfest is an annual event featuring readings, writers, and discussions. Also attending the event was media consultant and journalism lecturer Suniti Maharaj, who says she is hopeful that Slitfest continues to grow and expands throughout the country. She says writings and books have bridged numerous gaps that once existed before the internet came along.
It's really a pleasure and a commitment to support anything that has to do with reading and expression of ideas. And I think the Bocas Literary Festival has created a kind of hub. Hopefully it lasts and grows and spreads itself throughout the country. Becomes more decentralized, and I suppose once the resources are there, to just encourage people to explore the world of words and writing and reading is just a universe of its own, you know. It's the original connection between people. You didn't have to, today we have the internet, but when we did not have the internet, a book will take you to a country that you may never travel. It will introduce you to people and ideas that ideas that you might have never considered. And it will introduce you to people centuries ago and centuries into the future. So the power of that is that it releases the imagination.
Each year, the NGC Bocas Lit Fest and the National Museum and Art Gallery collaborate to invite an artist to create a limited edition work of art. The first numbered piece becomes part of the unique festival art collection of the National Museum and Art Gallery. Verna Barath, News 4.
And that story brings us to the end of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.